In less than 2 hours, the president of an entire country vanished from his palace and was forcibly taken out of his own nation by Trump. That morning, the whole world woke up to news nobody saw coming. America arrested Nicolas Maduro from the heart of Caracas itself. The story starts with the USS Gerald R Ford, the world's largest aircraft carrier, positioned in the region for months. This carrier is 337 meters long, weighs over 100,000 tons, and runs on 2 A-1B nuclear reactors. With her were 11 other warships, including 5 guided missile destroyers and 2 cruisers. This fleet was part of an operation called Southern Spear that began months ago, supposedly for drug interdiction, but the reality went way deeper. American forces in the region totaled 15,000 troops, along with dozens of fighter jets stationed in Puerto Rico. Everything was ready for an operation nobody expected, a direct strike on Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro himself. Tensions between Washington and Caracas had been escalating for months. Trump accused Maduro of running a narcoterrorism network, meaning terrorism backed by drug trafficking, and claimed he was flooding America with drugs to destabilize it. In 2020, a U.S. court issued formal charges against Maduro for narcoterrorism, but those charges just sat on paper until Trump returned to the presidency in January 2025. During the final months of 2025, America doubled the bounty for Maduro's capture to $50 million. They started hitting boats allegedly carrying drugs in the Caribbean, using drones like the MQ-9 Reaper. That aircraft is 11 meters long, weighs 4.7 tons, has a top speed of 370 kilometers per hour, and can fly for 27 hours straight without stopping. On the 30th of December 2025, there were 11 American warships positioned in the Caribbean. On one hand, Washington said this was part of drug interdiction. On the other hand, military analysts saw this buildup as way bigger than any normal counter-narcotics operation. Analytical assumption based on known military patterns. The actual operation likely began with an intelligence strike first, pinpointing Maduro's location through intercepted communications, satellite surveillance, or agents on the ground. Timing was critical. The moon was nearly full, which isn't ideal for night ops, but there was probably urgent intel that forced quick action. Around 1:30 a.m., the airstrikes began. Reports talk about multiple explosions in Caracas and 3 other provinces, Miranda, Aragua, and La Guaira. The targets were military installations, especially Venezuelan Air Force bases and air defense centers. Analytical assumption: these strikes were most likely executed with Tomahawk cruise missiles launched from the warships. That missile has a range of up to 1,600 kilometers, a speed of about 880 kilometers per hour, and a warhead weighing 450 kilograms. So if the ship was 400 kilometers from Caracas, the missile would arrive in roughly 27 minutes. The primary objective was taking out Venezuelan air defenses before the helicopters went in. Venezuela has Russian-made air defense systems like the S-300, but the real danger was man-pads, shoulder-fired missiles that target low-flying aircraft, and those are a serious threat to helicopters. Fuerte Tiuna, Venezuela's largest military complex, got hit. Eyewitnesses saw thick smoke rising from La Carlota Military Airport. Parts of southern Caracas lost power. Estimated duration of the initial strikes: less than 30 minutes. After the air defenses got knocked out, the riskiest phase began: helicopter insertion. Reports mention CH-47 Chinook helicopters flying low over Caracas. This helicopter is one of the world's most famous heavy-lift birds. CH-47F Chinook specs: length, roughly 30 meters with rotors, maximum weight, 22,680 kilograms, 50,000 pounds. Top speed, 315 kilometers per hour. Capacity, 33 troops plus 3 crew. Range, 741 kilometers. Powered by 2 Honeywell T-55 engines, each producing 4,777 horsepower. The Chinook's famous for its unique design. It's got 2 rotors spinning in opposite directions, tandem rotor, which makes it super stable when hauling heavy loads or inserting troops. Plus, it doesn't have a tail rotor like regular helicopters, meaning all the power goes to lift and thrust. Analytical assumption based on military patterns. The version used was most likely the MH-47G, the special operations variant of the Chinook, used by the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment known as the Nightstalkers. This version's got air refueling capability, terrain, following radar, and advanced defensive systems against missiles. The videos show sounds of explosions and heavy gunfire in parts of Caracas. This suggests ground combat happened, and not everything went smoothly. But in the end, Trump announced the operation was successful. Around 3 a.m., Caracas was in chaos. Residents heard explosions and helicopters, but nobody knew exactly what was going down. The Venezuelan government started issuing emergency statements. Venezuelan Defense Minister Vladimir Padrino Lopez, initially there were rumors he got killed in the strikes, but that turned out to be fake news. The minister appeared on camera and condemned the American military aggression. The Venezuelan government declared a national state of emergency and called for general mobilization. The official statement described what happened as imperialist military aggression and demanded an emergency UN Security Council meeting. But there was a problem. Maduro himself wasn't showing up. No statement from him, no TV appearance, not even a voice message. That silence created confusion and rumors. Some said he was in a fortified bunker. Others said he was killed. Still others said he escaped. At 6:47 a.m. Florida time, Trump posted on Truth Social, "The United States executed a large-scale military strike against Venezuela. President Nicolas Maduro and his wife have been apprehended and transported out of the country." The operation was conducted in cooperation with American law enforcement agencies. International reaction was swift and divided. Colombian President Gustavo Petro, whose country shares a long border with Venezuela, posted on social media, "Right now, someone is bombing Caracas. Alert to the entire world, they attacked Venezuela with missile strikes." He called for an emergency UN meeting. American Senator Brian Schatz, a member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, warned against any U.S. military involvement in Venezuela, writing on X, "The United States has no vital national interests in Venezuela that justify a war." On the flip side, Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado told CBS News she supports Trump's strategy. But the biggest question nobody has a clear answer to: is this legal? Under international law, using military force against a sovereign state without authorization from the UN Security Council is considered a violation of the UN Charter. Article 2.4 of the Charter prohibits the threat or use of force against the territorial integrity or political independence of any state. The only permitted exception is self-defense. Article DRE 51, in case of armed attack. But Venezuela didn't attack the United States militarily. American accusations were related to drug trafficking and supporting terrorism, and that's not a legal international justification for military invasion. Under U.S. law, the Constitution gives Congress, not the President, the power to declare war. Trump didn't get authorization from Congress to wage war on Venezuela. True, American presidents have used armed forces many times without formal war declarations. But an operation this size, capturing a head of state, raises serious constitutional questions. Lawyers and international law experts are divided. On one hand, some say Maduro is formally charged in U.S. court with narcoterrorism, and that justifies his arrest. On the other hand, others say launching a military invasion on a sovereign state to forcibly take its president is a clear violation of international law, regardless of the charges. This situation opens the door to broader questions. If a powerful nation can forcibly arrest the president of a weaker state, what does that mean for the international order? Is this a dangerous precedent threatening the principle of sovereignty? Or is this enforcing the principle of international accountability against leaders accused of serious crimes? As of right now, there's a lot we still don't know. Where exactly are Maduro and his wife? What are the casualties? And what happens to Venezuela now? Who's gonna run the country? What happened on the 3rd of January 2026 isn't just a military operation, it's a turning point in international relations. This is the first time in decades America openly and directly invaded a country in the Western Hemisphere and arrested its president. The implications will be massive. Militarily, this operation proves America's ability to topple any regime in the Western Hemisphere if it decides to. Politically, this will make many countries in the region recalculate and fear the possibility of direct American intervention. And legally, this opens up a new debate about the limits of national sovereignty and when it's permissible to violate it. Venezuela is now in a leadership vacuum. Its streets are caught between confusion and fear. And the whole world is watching and waiting for the next move. This operation will be remembered as one of the boldest and most controversial moments in modern American military history. But the question that still has no answer, was this the right strategic call? Or was this a serious violation of international law that'll have long-term consequences? The answer to that question, as they say, history will decide.